Let's make some sense out of this whole Hunter Biden scandal that has been taking over the airwaves over the past few weeks as we lead up to Election Day, only a few days away. And that is exactly what I want to do in this video, because I see many people dismissing this situation, saying, who cares what Joe Biden's son did in private, and why do we even care? Why should we even judge Joe Biden based on this? Because it's not Joe Biden who did it, it's his son. And to be honest, I have actually considered this question too, but I have finally wrapped my head around why it is important. And in this video, I am going to share with you some of the points I've come across that justify in my head why I think this is an important story to follow, and which parts are actually the most important, which ones I feel like are kind of yucky and we don't really need to be exposing to the world. But before we get into that, if you are not subscribed to this channel and you would like to see social, political, and cultural commentary videos every week, make sure to hit subscribe down below or above, depending on if you are on Rumble or you are on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, make sure to ring the notification bell to get notified every time a video goes live. So with that said, let's get into some of the points I've come across to justify and to debunk also, not debunk, justify parts of the story and kind of not justify the other parts, if that makes sense. Okay, so personally, I feel like if you aren't breaking a law or doing anything in your private life that is not hurting anybody else, then I don't think I should care about it. I shouldn't know about it. I don't think it should be really broadcast out there if it doesn't affect other people and you're not lying to us or trying to cover up the truth, right? I don't think that's okay. But in terms of this Hunter Biden story, I don't even actually care about the sexcapades or the drugs as long as it's consensual and the people involved in that situation, whatever it may be, know what they're doing, know the risks, and are willing to accept whatever happens as a result of that. However, the problem in this story is when you look at the standard that has been used and applied to Joe Biden's opponent in the presidential race, President Trump, over the last 4 years since the beginning and even before he ran. That is where the problem comes in, and that is why this story starts to become more and more important. Now, this is the standard, this new standard that has been applied to President Trump is now the standard that we are using against Joe Biden. Especially if you're someone who doesn't support Joe Biden, you want some fairness, right? So you want whatever standard was being applied to President Trump being applied to Joe Biden. I think that's an honest, fair thing to want in this race. And now future candidates will be vetted this way as well. Unfortunately for Joe and his family, they have a 47-year history in public service to which they haven't been held to this kind of standard until now, and unfortunately for them, we have a record that we can now hold to this same standard of the standard of 2020. So when I was trying to think of a comparison to what this is to something we've become familiar with as a culture, I thought of something very common in social media and something I think we've all seen if we're on social media, especially if you found this video somehow. And that is, this to me, the Hunter Biden story and the Joe Biden run for president really in general, is the political corruption equivalent to all of your tweets from back in the day, whether it be 10 years ago or 10 plus years ago, being brought up and analyzed using today's standard, today's 2020 standard. Whether it's regarding race, religion, sex, gender, marriage, money, what tweets you liked, what tweets you retweeted, people you followed, who followed you, who you interacted with. All that can be spun in a way to hurt you in whatever endeavor you choose to go on from now on. Because if there's a record of it and it's still live, they could pull it up now and say, hey, look what this person said, even though it was in probably a different time when the social standards and social norms were a little bit different back then. And now you have to answer for it. So to me, the difference between Trump and Biden with this new standard is Trump is losing a chunk of his fortune in office, while Biden made the chunk of his fortune in office. And there is proof of both. But with Trump and Biden, there are two kind of simultaneous narratives being told that are contradictory to each other. So I'm going to share each of those stories or each of those narratives for Trump and Biden. I'm not going to give necessarily my opinion on what you think is true. You can probably point to, based on what I've uploaded on my channel, what I think. But I would love to know your thoughts in the comments after I finish off these narratives that I'm going to read. And so for Trump, the quote, "He is a bad businessman." That has kind of been a very popular trend on characterizing him for his opponents. And a lot of that comes from the fact that he has declared bankruptcy in the past. He has mortgages due on some of his biggest properties coming up by the end of his second term, assuming he wins. And he has lost money while in office. So all that can be spun to say he's a bad businessman and that he's not as rich as he says he is and whatnot. But also, they're also pushing the narrative that he is a trust fund elitist from Fifth Avenue. He was given his money. He's from money. He's not a man-made or a self-made person. And so you can't really have it both ways if I'm being honest. So those are the two contradictory storylines regarding Trump. Now for Biden, it is that he is a decent man that's fought for America for decades, and as he fought for the rights of people of all types in the Obama administration. But on the other foot, I mean, that's a good veneer, right? You can say that's a generalization, right? But also, he is on record making some harsh statements about race during his time as senator. He has a record as a senator that is contradictory to what his current stances are. And he is now associated, now that Obama is out of office, he is associated with Obama, whose legacy has been tainted by recent revelations that have been made and made aware to the American public over the past few years. And it appears that he has been using, Biden, if you will, or this is what I'm referring to, Biden has been appearing to be using his position of power, especially as his time as vice president to President Obama, to enrich his family. So now, what really makes this Hunter Biden story even more important is that the more that comes out, the more it appears that Joe is not the decent man the media and his campaign wants you to believe he is. It looks more like he is the person Kamala was attacking on the stage during the Democratic primary debates as being a racist, as being someone who has accusers coming out accusing him of sexual misconduct. We have some videos that sure could have been taken out of context, but if you're just looking at the video itself, it appears that Joe has interesting behavior around a certain demographic of people, mainly women and children. There's plenty of video, and I'll just say that. But the person that Joe is, that Kamala didn't like on that stage, is not in line with Kamala's views and what she stood for until she got the opportunity to pretty much sell her soul for power. And a lot of her behavior as of late, you can watch the videos online of her recent campaign stops, and it appears, in my opinion, that she is on something, taking something, or she is just the idea that she is one step away from the presidency, and it is clear that she will probably be president at some point early on in the first term. I think she can't contain herself, knowing that she is that close to being the most powerful, basically the most powerful person in the world. I think she cannot contain herself, and that's what that laugh comes from. That's what that nervous laugh, that's what the energy, the over-the-top pandering. She's just she can taste that power so strongly that she's just, I just want it so bad. I want the real thing. And that's what it appears that is what is happening right now. So it appears there may be proof that Joe also knew of inappropriate relations between Hunter, his son, and an underage family member, or maybe even people outside the family. And if this is true, it is important because we need to know if there is a predator entering the White House should they win. Now you're probably also wondering, why does this sound familiar? It's because it is. And it's because that is the line that has been being used against President Trump since he began running, since people started coming out accusing him of sexual assault too. So why can we hold Donald Trump to the standard of he's a predator, he's bad, he's corrupt, whatever, and make sure we vet that to make sure he's not those things, but we can't hold Joe to the same standard? That is why this Hunter Biden story is so important, because it exposes everything that they have been trying to paint Joe as a lie, if all these things end up being true. So to me, I'll end on this note before we head to the ending and head to the comments. It is clear that projection is the strongest trait of prominent elected Democrats, most known for attacking the President Trump. So with that said, let me know what you think in the comment section. Have you been following the Hunter Biden story, or have you dismissed it because you thought it was kind of gross and kind of not needing to be exposed because it's kind of personal and whatnot? Or have I changed your mind in some way, or confirmed that you maybe should that you feel it's important to expose the Hunter Biden story, and it's important to the race considering Joe's involvement in it? Let me know in the comment section, whether you're on Rumble or on YouTube. And if you liked what you saw here and you enjoyed it, make sure to give this video a thumbs up on YouTube, give it a rumble on Rumble with the punching bag above or the plus sign below this video. And if you haven't already, like I asked or suggested at the beginning of this video, if you haven't subscribed yet on Rumble or on YouTube, make sure to do that right now before you head out. And with that said, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.